Few months ago, I made one of my greatest Bluey videos ever, where I explained why I thought a specific Bluey character was the worst in the show, which was Honey. And obviously you guys absolutely loved my take on my video as a whole, so I thought why not just make an entire video talking about the character that I think is one of the best, if not the best, in the show, which in my opinion is Rusty. So today I am going to be explaining why I think Rusty is the best Bluey character in the entire show, and before we start, please like and subscribe as it'll help me out a ton. Thanks! First, let's give a rundown about Rusty. Rusty is a 7-year-old red kelpie who lives with his mom, older brother Digger, and younger sister Dusty, and his father is usually overseas in the military. He's pretty athletic, enjoys watching and playing sports, and loves playing with his friends. His main friend group consists of various kids from his school, which is Glass House Primary School, and most notably include Jack, Bluey, Indy, and Coco. Though he is also friends with Lucky, who does not attend Glass House Primary School, though they both like to play cricket together, which Rusty is really good at, especially considering that he became a professional cricket player when he becomes an adult. Outside of sports, he takes interest in many different occupations, which includes being a knight, a full-time father, an army sergeant, an explorer, a builder, a plumber, an astronaut, and a farmer. It's possible he's a distant cousin of Bluey, based on an error from the old official Bluey website, though it's unlikely, and he allegedly drives a go-kart based on a toy that includes him, Bluey, and a go-kart. And it also includes tools, so I guess Rusty is also interested in being a mechanic. Jeez, he likes a lot of jobs. But let's actually get into why I believe he's the best Bluey character in the entire show. Obviously, his character is hugely developed and has a lot of details dedicated to him, which is most likely because during early production of the show, he was designated as the main character of the show, before eventually being switched to Bluey, which also explains his similarities to her design. He even appears in the old intro of Bluey and in the first pilot ever made, which is why his character is so good in the 18 episodes he appears in. His debut was in the episode Calypso, in which he is a builder who is building a 2-story house for himself.
I'm building a house. It's going to have a bottom room and a top room,
which he then offers to Indy to live in, and he babysits her baby.
Do you want to learn how to build a fence, Polly?
I did think the episode was pretty mid, but the focus isn't on him and he doesn't do much yet. And this continues on for his next appearance in The Doctor, where he accidentally ate a hippopotamus, and then when he burps, baby hippos come out.
I accidentally ate a hippopotamus, and now when I burp out baby hippopotamuses. Burp.
Which actually caused a lot of chaos, and it's really the only entertaining part of that episode because I did not like that episode at all. In fact, I gave it a 1 out of 10 when I rated it, but he did have the best moment in that episode for sure, even if he was basically just a side character. His next appearance was in Shops, which is another episode that isn't exactly the greatest, but it's more of an okay episode, and he doesn't make an appearance until the end of the episode where he just hops into Bluey's game randomly, so he didn't do much there. The same goes for the next appearance in Fairies, where he's just playing cricket with Lucky in a cul-de-sac, not doing much either. You might be wondering why I am making a video about Rusty being the best Bluey character in Bluey, when his first few appearances really aren't that memorable. Well, that all changes once we get to the episode Early Baby, where he finally gets more involved with the story, as he was a knight off to save a village from an evil dragon and then almost kills Indy's baby at the hospital. And this episode is honestly pretty decent in my opinion, and he definitely takes up a good chunk of that episode, and the role that he plays in that episode definitely goes along with the story and helps develop the story as well, and makes it an interesting episode. And of course, his next appearance is in the next episode, Mums and Dads, which acts as a sequel to Early Baby.
Rusty, let's play Mums and Dads. Okay.
And he once again is one of the main characters in this episode, and it definitely becomes his best performance so far, as he basically pretends to be Indy's husband and they take care of the child that Rusty literally almost killed in the previous episode. And of course he argues with Indy like any typical couple would, and he goes to play with someone else, in this case Bluey, and he somehow goes from being the grown-up in his family to a literal baby in Bluey's care, during which Bluey teases him and he runs off to the sandpit to find Indy. They make up for their arguments and go back to playing and the episode ends. This was a great appearance by Rusty and a great episode as well. And it gets even better as his next appearance is in Army, one of the best episodes in the entire show, as he and Jack meet up for the first time to go on an army adventure through the land around the school, in which Jack opens up about his neurological issues.
There's something wrong with me. I'm not good at doing what I'm told. I can't sit still, and I can't remember anything, like numbers or letters on my hat.
And Rusty opens up about his love for the army, as his dad is currently serving.
How do you know so much about the army? Because my dad's in the army.
This episode also spawns the Rusty and Jack duo, which is probably one of, if not the best duo in the entire show, and it shows in the future episodes too. He briefly appeared in Helicopter, which is another okay episode, but he only appears briefly when he and Jack hop on the helicopter with Bluey while they're playing Army. He appears in Barky Boats as a cameo, and he also appears in Handstand, but that episode is just so chaotic that whatever he does doesn't really matter. And he has a cameo in Curry Quest, and after these slow appearances, we jump straight back into another great episode, which is Explorers, which has the Jack Jack and Rusty duo again, and despite Rusty leaving pretty early in the episode, he started out as the leader, and his decisions and advice end up helping Jack reach the ultimate goal of sailing back to Australia. So in theory, Rusty basically set up the entire storyline for the episode, but without him, who knows what would have happened. He appears in stories, but doesn't do much except critique Indy's horse.
Nice cow, Indy.
But he comes back hot in that episode Space, which I believe is one of the most underrated episodes in the entire show. Again, we have the unstoppable Rusty and Jack duo, this time joined with Mackenzie, another great character, and even though the episode is more focused on Mackenzie, Rusty still does an amazing job in this episode, along with Jack and Mackenzie too. He appears in Wild Girls, which I thought was pretty mid, and honestly probably his worst performance in the show, where he's just kind of sitting there pretending to be a farmer and stating he cares more about his quad bike than a witch.
I can't be dealing with witches. I just bought a new quad bike.
But even here, it's not like it's a horrible appearance, and the episode isn't horrible either, it's more just kind of a mediocre episode for Bluey's standards. But it's definitely his worst appearance by far, as he just doesn't do that much, and it's something that just could have been a lot more entertaining. He then has a cameo in TV Shop before appearing as the main character in one of the best Bluey episodes ever made, Cricket, where we see his progression into becoming a very good cricket player, playing with his friends and family, and teaching his little sister Dusty how to catch, as well as the whole scene of him getting hurt and limping his way home, which then turns into him reading his dad's letter while he's overseas, and that letter basically inspires him to actually hit the ball against the older players, which is honestly such an emotional moment, which turns even more emotional at the end when he walks in the field, which slowly fades into him fist bumping his older self on the Australian national cricket team, which ends off such a masterpiece of an episode, in which he's the main focus and the Jack and Rusty duo appear again. It's beautiful. Then he appears in The Sign, but let's be real, basically every character did, but that's obviously one of the best episodes of Bluey too. These episodes, more specifically the ones where he plays a bigger role, like Early Baby, Mums and Dads, Army, Explorers, Space, and of course Cricket, are all amazing episodes because of Rusty does in these episodes, with the help of other characters of course like Mackenzie in Space and Indy in Mums and Dads. Without him, these episodes could have gone a completely different way and may not have even become as good as they are right now, and it's all because of him. There's not a single bad episode where he has a major role. Every episode with him as a major role has been great, if not amazing. His overall character design is great too. Sure, he's basically a recolored Bluey, but that specific model just looks so good in the show, and he honestly just looks so adorable. I mean, just look at that smile. He's also just surrounded by such a loving family, and is obviously the reason why his personality is so upbeat and happy all the time, and why he is so caring and understanding of his friend Jack with his neurological issues. He also has an amazing voice, which is super unique compared to some of the other characters, and I think this is mostly because of his thicker Aussie accent. It's honestly just so cute when he talks, and you can hear the accent in his voice.
'Cause my dad's in the army.
And speaking on the fact that he's basically a recolored Bluey, there's still differences in the design, which is the tail and the fact that his waist is slimmer, while Bluey's is not, so it's not a perfect copy and paste. It still makes him his own character and design, plus the belly shape is different too. Of course, this is also my opinion, so there is some bias, and that bias is the fact that he loves sports, because I love sports too. While we may play different sports, and he's more of a cricket fanatic, something that we don't really play in the USA, I really like playing disc golf, and sometimes basketball, and sometimes even regular golf. And of course, I like watching football games and stuff like that too. He's also pretty strong, as he literally picked up Jack with one arm in helicopter. His design is exactly how a design should be in the show, which is just subtle but noticeable differences, and not a complete overhaul, because obviously that doesn't always go well. Character designs in Bluey should also accurately represent their chosen dog breed, like how Rusty is supposed to be a red kelpie, which he does look like a red kelpie, but there's some characters, most notably Honey, who's supposed to be a beagle but doesn't really look like a beagle, which kind of just ruins her character even more, which is one of my main reasons as to why I did not like her character, if you ever watched my video on why I didn't like Honey. So anyway, he's great to watch and listen to, and it's just the ideal character. And before I end this off, I want to state why some other amazing characters are not my #1 favorite like Rusty. Obviously, Bluey is an amazing character, heck, she's literally the namesake. But for one thing, that's just too obvious and basic of an answer. She's appeared in all episodes except for like 2, so all those bad episodes in the show have her in it with a bigger role, and sometimes it's even her fault. And she is also sometimes bossy and doesn't play nice. While all of Rusty's major roles have been great and he never shows a bossy attitude. Bingo is also a good pick, but Bingo is again more of a basic answer, and though she's such a sweet and cute character and a loving sister, she still has some episodes where she's a major role in that aren't the greatest. Bandit is also a good pick too, and I think realistically he's probably the closest of taking that spot, but again, there's some episodes with him that aren't that great, but he is probably the best father figure in cartoon history. Some people may say Radley, but he hasn't appeared in many episodes. Some will say Muffin, but she is more controversial, and some may even say Socks, because she is probably the cutest character in the entire show, but she also doesn't have some great appearances, especially especially earlier in the show. And of course, people are entitled to their own opinions on who they think the best character is in Bluey, except if it's Honey, because like, come on, why? Anyways, this is why I believe Rusty is the greatest Bluey character. He's made such a great impact on the show and is loaded with details, character development, good design choices, and amazing performances in many episodes, and is easily one of the most likable characters in the entire show. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later.